Your girl Fifi the Gym, and I have my co-host with me, the Diva of Curves. And as you can see, we're showing our CIAA pride for our HBCU, home of the Broncos. You know. So we had to drop in because it's CIAA. And what better way to celebrate than talk about our HBCU, the good old Fayetteville State University. With further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to the Diva of Curves and let her drop her 2 cents in pieces. Diva of Curves, what you got going on over there, baby?
Not much. Okay, so of course, it's Black History Month. We got CIAA and we got an HBCU. So why not bring it all together and let's just talk about our HBCU experience. Let's also gloat and brag a little bit about the Broncos that won that CIAA championship. So, okay. But I just want to share with the people about the HBCU experience. So I know for you, yours kind of started off with the intro at A Different World. And I'll let you tell everybody about your experience. But I think we both shared that we had that similarity that we both were using that kind of as the framework of what we expected when we went to college. But I'll let you tell yours. I don't want to steal your thunder. But let's just say we got a lot to talk about. Okay, so go ahead, Fethegem, lay the groundwork. Tell us what you thought your HBCU experience was going to be like.
I hope y'all ready. Y'all better get some tea because I got my water right here. Okay. So y'all know growing up, we had the little Black TV shows, Cosby, Family Matters, A Different World. So I thought that when we went to college, it was going to be like a different world. We was going to have a pit. We was going to have some step teams, which we had the step teams. And I thought like we was going to have the dorm master, which we had a couple of those things. But I really thought it was going to be like a different world. Like the pit, we was going to have a Mr. Gaines, a Whitley Gilbert. And I felt cheated when I got to Fayetteville State. No disrespect, State. But when I got there, it was nothing like I anticipated, okay? Nothing like that. So I felt a little cheated because
for me, I think I expected that closeness. And I'm not saying that it wasn't there, but which is very similar to high school, except for on a larger scale, is it's very cliquish. So it's like you have all of these people who are trying to kind of figure out where they associate with and who they better associate with. And so it was very, very cliquish. And so it's like your first semester, you might be with this group. Then the next semester, you might be with another group. And then it's like, as you evolve, you continue to figure out what group you just, kind of fit in with. And as opposed to A Different World, to me, it was just like a family. It was more family oriented. And I guess it was because that story was centered around those key people. But that's what I expected, more closeness, more like sisterhood and brotherhood. I don't think I received a lot of that. And it could have just been, that was just my HBCU experience. But for me, I didn't receive a lot of that. I didn't receive a whole lot of like support, quote unquote, from my instructors. And that was something that was also heavily portrayed in A Different World, was like they had a lot of that mentorship, whether it was like Whitley or Kim in the dorm rooms or Freddie, but it was just like the adults played a very pivotal role in their adulthood journey. And I didn't get a lot of that. And I really missed that because I think that would have made my experience that much more exciting, because here I am having a Black woman or a Black man instructing me, as well as giving me those life skills. So I think that's one thing that I really wish I would have had more of. What about you?
You had a lot of African American teachers.
What you say?
I said you had a lot of African American teachers.
Yeah.
I did not.
I can't quote their names now. I know two African teachers. We had the social. Oh yeah, I had psychology. I can't remember her name, but it started with an H. I had her for psychology. It was a Black woman that I ended up having to take again because I got a D in it, and that was my doggone major. So I can't remember what her name was, but she was very like stern. And I mean, I think now I appreciate her sternness, but I just wish she had a little bit more caring with that sternness. Like if you see somebody struggling, like especially in a freshman class, kind of make it your business to reach out to that person. But I remember her, she was Black. I also had another teacher that was like some type of poli-sci class, and I loved her. She was Black also. And then I had 2 African teachers. So yeah,
I definitely feel cheated. Most of my teachers, let me see. I had maybe like 4 or maybe 5 for the whole 4 years I was there.
We had our human service teacher was Black. You don't remember her? She taught like, I don't remember what it was. It was maybe like social studies or something. But it was that class in B Hall, all the way at the back on the left-hand side, and all of us used to all be in that classroom getting in trouble. But yeah, it was like some type of human service class. I remember that class because that was because like we hardly had classes together, but that was one we kind of coerced and got that same class together. And so I was like, I remember that class that we had together.
I did not have a lot of Black instructors until my first 3 years. I did not. Most of my teachers, they were Caucasian, African, or something else. I don't know what their ethnicity was. Some other race. Yeah. Towards the last 2 years, that's when most of my instructors starting to be of color. But going back to a different world, I feel like if I could do it again, I would do it college again, because I don't really feel like I got the whole college experience. And then maybe because I was working too, that had something to do with it too. But I just don't really feel like I got the full college experience. Like I was looking for the frat parties, like again, a different world, the frat parties, fashion shows. And it may just be, as you mentioned, the circle that we were in, but I didn't.
And another thing too, like there are a lot of variables about our situation. One, a lot of the stuff in a different world happened on campus. With our school, a lot of stuff, I think around the time we began to be more off campus. So like we have sororities and fraternities, and they do have parties, but a lot of that stuff is like invitation only, is word of mouth. If you're not really hanging with a lot of people who are lettered, you don't know about a lot of those parties, as opposed to like on different world, all of that stuff was posted around, like you knew when they was having the parties. And again, it could just be the circle we ran in. Like we didn't run with people who were lettered. So why would we know when the lettered people are having a party? Like they didn't invite us. We're not in that clique. And so for us, it was always like they would have those parties at the club or this or that. And to me, that changes the dynamics. Again, I was looking for more that interpersonal, like that close communication, like more of a family feel. But when you go to a club, it's like a club. Like I don't take
it's for everybody.
As a party, like I take that as a club. And so for me, I think that was another thing too, was everything was off campus. You had to have a car, you had to be able to move. It was not a whole lot of stuff on campus.
And let's not talk about the fast bus that was slow. Okay. Nothing.
They didn't get that until years later. Like none of that stuff was in our freshman year. Like our freshman and sophomore year, they didn't have that stuff. That stuff came with our junior year. So like I said, our school advanced, but it wasn't like that. And then too, another thing, we didn't have co-ed. We didn't stay in a co-ed dormitory. So I had friends that went to other schools throughout North Carolina, and I'll use UNC, North Carolina Central as a great example.
Co-ed, but it wasn't on the same floor.
No, we was not co-ed like they was on there. Like a different world was co-ed like North Carolina Central was. North Carolina Central is a girl could be staying right here and a boy could be staying next door. Ours was co-ed in the sense of the girls might be staying on the bottom 2 floors and the boys might be staying on the top 2 floors. But they were not neighbors. They were not adjacent. You was not going to have a boy as your neighbor.
Well, considering the time, it was for your safety. So
I mean, that's just the way our school was set up. And I mean, I don't have anything against it. I'm not mad about that. Because like I said, that wasn't an experience that it didn't matter to me. Like, I don't feel like I lost nothing because I didn't stay next door to a boy. But that was something that was common on the show for you to have a boy or a girl, in the same dormitory. But we didn't really experience that until our sophomore year, because that's when we moved into Bronco, was our sophomore year, right?
Yeah,
I think so. We moved in our
yeah.
sophomore year, so that's when we actually got like the actual dormitory co-ed experience.
Yeah.
But even then, like I said, the boys was not on the same floor as us. I think they were on like the top 2 levels or something like that.
It was every
So
other
again,
floor. So it was
yeah,
the first floor.
it was like a
it was
floor,
half,
but it
so
wasn't like side by side. You would see them kind of in passing. Again, not that I was checking for them, so I don't care. But it was, to me, it was just portrayed that way on this show. Like, you would be having parties, y'all be hanging out, you'd be eating with your neighbor and stuff. So that's just more of what I was expecting.
Even when they took the big road trip to the beach in the lake house with Freddie and Dwayne and Whitley and Ron, when they went there, like, even you pile up in somebody's car, like we piled up in people's car, but it was to go to Walmart, but not to go to a vacation spot or something like that. And come to think of it, I don't even think my mind was on vacation, and I was just trying
and that's what I was about to say. I think our minds was wired so much for adulthood, and I think that's one of my biggest regrets. Is I wish, like, my uncle always told me, if I could go back in the time and go back to high school, I would do it all over again. And I never understood what he meant until it was too late. But like, I always encourage people, when you're in college, enjoy yourself. Stop rushing. Stop trying to get out in 4 years. You do not get a cookie because you finished college in 4 years. Like, you do not get a pat on the back because you got out of college the fastest. Like, take your time. Enjoy your college experience.
Figure out what you want to do.
Do not work. Do not be rushing trying to pay bills and get this new car. And, like, actually enjoy meeting people. Like, that's one of my biggest regrets. Like, now I think a lot of people reach out to me on social media and, because they just see me. And so they'll speak. But as far as like having that connectedness, like, I regret not having those connections, because I admire that I see some of my former peers, like, they can go to DC and have friends there. They can go to California and now they have friends there. They can go to Indiana and have friends there. With me, it's like, I have my best friend. And I have a handful of other people that I could talk to, but it's not like an intimate connection. It's not like they are a friend. It's more of an associate. And so I think for us, that was probably our downfall, is we were both so connected. And that's a great thing, to have a friendship that, you can connect with and it lasts through college. But that was also a downfall, was because we didn't really explore those other options. So when you're talking about like having those road trips and stuff, who was going to be able to come in our circle? We were so tight knit. And so, like I say, that's why I always have said that I love you, but I feel like I should have always went to another college. Like, I love up north. I've always wanted to, stay in the DMV area. And I wanted to actually go to a school in Maryland, but I was too nervous because I didn't have anybody to motivate me, to encourage me to step out and do things that was unfamiliar. Instead, I was around like-minded individuals who did not think that way. And so instead of really pushing and encouraging me to do my dreams, I literally feel like my dreams got compressed into what other people want.
I actually wanted to go to
one of my biggest regrets. And I always tell you that, like, that's one of my biggest regrets, is really not exploring my options and going to an institution that fits me.
I really wanted to go to school up enough. I wanted to go to the University of New York to be an occupational therapist. However, coming from a single family home, my mother, being a Black woman, I'm not paying for no out-of-state tuition, honey. That's just too high. You better go locally. I was like, well, that's why I want. Well, I guess you won't be going. Well, okay then. So that was one of my downfalls, was, like you said, not being able to go where you wanted to go. And mine was, I was so eager just to get out on my own and experience life that I didn't take the time to figure out a plan. I just went with the flow. And I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but I went with the flow. And so when I got to school, it was new, because they were like, well, what's your major? I'm like, what is this? A major? What? I gotta pick something to do here? I just don't come to school and walk around and eat. And what are you gonna take up and study? I don't know. So I just picked the first thing that I seen, I was like, oh, well, I'm good with remembering people's names. I guess I'll be elementary education. Got to elementary ed. That was not what I signed up for. I was like, mm-mm. So then they offered the program BK licensure. I was like, oh, I'll do that. Now I wish I would have done something else. I wish I would have went and been an occupational therapist or massage therapist, like I started on the track of nursing and bones in high school. But that's another story for another day, needless to say. But
But that
overall,
happens though. It
it
happens
does.
though. Cause like I say, to me, when you're transitioning from high school to college, that is a very vulnerable age. And you don't know what you want to do. Like you're expecting an 18-year-old to make a decision that impacts the rest of their life. And that's what I think is the downfall of our community is we don't have enough conversations about what does my child want to do. We don't support them. We don't do, job inventory, skill inventories, so that you can learn what your strengths are, what are your weaknesses, and find a career that plays into your strength. Even with my godchild, I just asked him the other day, what do you want to be? He is still in elementary school, but at this point, he needs to start having these conversations so that he can start thinking about it. Like he loves dinosaurs. I want to be a paleontologist. Okay, that might change. But at the same time, we are encouraging him to find things that ignite that spark in him and allowing him to know that that's attainable. Even if you do want to be a garbage man, there's nothing wrong with being a garbage man. People don't understand that there is so much autonomy and leadership in being a garbage man or a sanitation worker. And people just kind of dismiss that off, but they literally are environmentalists.
They are.
And if you look at it from a different standpoint, you will see that, and so I really just encourage people to have those conversations because I wish those conversations were had with me. Once I picked the major, it would have been questioned like, why do you want to do this? What do you want to do with this? Are you aware of the careers you can do? Do you know how much money you can make doing this? Like all of those questions I wish would have been asked, because then once I seen how much money they was making, I'd be like, nope, this ain't for me. Because I know the lifestyle I want to live, I can't live that lifestyle with this little piece of money. And so, those, like I said, those conversations was not had until afterwards. And like you said, by that time, it's almost too late because you already didn't pick the major. And I'm dedicated at this point. I'm 3 years in. I'm not changing it.
And then for me, graduation was an issue for me because of the end of my junior year, they were like, oh, you can't graduate because you didn't take the praxis. What is that? I don't know what this is. Oh, so now not only am I in class, but now I'm in night class because I'm trying to pass a test that I knew nothing about. One, because I didn't do my research. So if I could tell my younger self anything, it will be to do your research. Look at something. I was good about doing internships, but I didn't do the background work, like you said, to figure out the salary, the expectations and qualifications. I did not do that. All I seen was a way to get out.
But that's what the guidance counselor is for. Like that's what a guidance counselor is for. And that's what I'm saying. Like there are people who have these titles and have these roles, but they are not fulfilling those duties. And again, it doesn't solely rest on that guidance counselor, but they are there to help you through your high school journey.
But I got
to make that transition smoothly. And again, I wish I had the support of my parentals to help enhance that. Now, what I will say is we were in educational talent search. They were instrumental in us choosing like a HBCU, us actually going to colleges and receiving some sort of experience, taking tours. So if you guys are not a part of some sort of collegiate program such as like educational talent search that really pushes and advocates for higher education, like you need to go find out about these programs. Upward Bound, like all of these things really help to lay that foundation about how to be college bound and what to expect in a sense. Now, again, it's not going to be the same for everybody, but for us, I think that really saved us. Like Miss Drain, like all of them, they helped us. They paid for our college applications. We were getting application waivers. They helped us with SAT prep. Like I said, we actually took college tours. My mom wasn't taking me on no college tour. We chose Fayetteville State because we went to Fayetteville State. We actually did a college tour at Fayetteville State. So it's like the schools that we chose were literally because we went there. Like I like South Carolina State. We took a tour at South Carolina State. The only reason I didn't go, she didn't want to go, and it was too hot.
It's too hot. It's too
It
hot.
was too hot at South
I
Carolina
am a
State.
baby to heat.
And my best friend was like, I don't want to go there. And
Too
so
hot.
we ended up going to Fayetteville State. But
Well,
yeah,
I
like
was
I said,
coerced to go to Fayetteville State because when my mama looked at the tuition, she said that fit her budget, so that's where I was going. So at the time, Fayetteville State had, well, they still have affordable tuition. I think there might be one of the most affordable HBCUs.
Absolutely.
It's just my opinion. But at the time, it was affordable for my mother, again, single. And she said, this fits my budget and this where you going. And I was hesitant. I don't think Diva Curves knows this, but I really didn't want to go to Fayetteville State. But being that my mama,
I wanted to go to either Coppin State or I wanted to go to Elizabeth City. But like you said, my mom is a single parent. Mm-hmm. She didn't have transportation to get me back and forth. And they both kind of talked to each other. And I remember my mom and your mom having a conversation like, hey, where these girls going? And so somehow they ended up both saying, yeah, because they can ride together. When I come and pick her up, you can, like, they kind of had already sorted out. And again, single parents, they're doing the best they can. So it's no shade to neither one of our parents. No. I truly feel like
shout out to all the single mom and dads out there. Y'all do it the best.
Yeah, like they had our best interest at heart, but it's just having to make these tough decisions. And this is what happened when you deal with a lot of African-American families. They're having to make these tough decisions. And sometimes you're having to sacrifice on the back end because of, so many different variables. But I think all of those things really fed into the lack of our HBCU experience. But I just want to take a minute to share, like, what were some things you think we got right in our HBCU experience?
The things we got right? Getting that degree, girl. That's what we got right. So when I see some
making no money like all y'all is, but whatever. Whatever.
So when I see other, as the man say, alumni, I can throw my little Bronco up and say Bronco pride. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
And for me, I don't think it was so much about my degree, but it was so much about me actually applying myself to do something like completion. I am a huge procrastinator. So I have a big habit of starting something and never finishing it. And when it came to like 4 years for both of us, we knew it wasn't an option to go back home without that degree. Like you ain't walking up in Deborah House and you ain't got no degree.
Well, and that's a
no-go. So for me, I didn't care what I had to do. I was getting ready to get that 4-year degree. And so for me, I think it was just the beginning of me actually accomplishing something, not me saying I'm going to do something and I actually putting, my feet to the pavement, but I actually did it. I accomplished it. So for me, I think that was one of my biggest successes, like you was just doing it.
Baby, I was lost. I'm sorry. I might have looked like I had it together, but I was thugging it at school. I'm sorry. I ain't know what I was doing. All I wanted to do was wake up, go to the caf. I would say if you are not an early riser, an 8 o'clock class is not for you. It had to be 9 or later. And even the 8 o'clock classes at night, them 6-week classes.
Woo, child.
And you're getting out at 10 from 6 to 10 p.m. That is not a class that you want to sign up for. So you are a college student, don't take these classes unless you absolutely need it.
Don't do it. I'm trying to think, what else did they do right? The calf.
Chicken wings. Chicken wings. Now, see, you know what? Now, when I thought about Fayetteville State, when I was coerced to go, I thought about the nice little spread they laid out when we went. That's another thing that made me mad because I thought we was gonna really eat like this.
My food was good. Phoenicia always complained about the food, but didn't miss not one meal. My food was good. I'm not gonna sit up here and hate on my HBCU. That, of course, it's just like when you go to your friend's house, child. Their mama gonna pull out that good china. They're gonna pull out all the good food. So yes, they put on a presentation for us, but I don't think the food was bad.
The food was not that bad, but
it actually got better every single year we was there. The food slightly got better. It was more healthier. There were more options. And like even the last time I went to homecoming, I was low key pissed. Like, wait a minute, why they got all these options? We had one little crummy Subway. And we had the rest of these. But like I said, for me, I didn't really have a whole lot of problems. I used to be making the best of it, maybe because I'm a hood cook, so I kind of make that thing work. But it wasn't bad for me.
It wasn't bad, but I mean, after I got the senior year, like I done ate this food so long, I don't want it. I
Yeah.
gave my meal card to somebody who off campus. I was like, "Oh, meet me at this time, and you can swipe
Yeah,
my
no, I was at the
card.
calf, honey.
You can
Breakfast,
swipe
lunch,
my
and
card."
dinner. I was at the calf.
Well, I was
Uh,
working, so I ate at work. I only
yeah.
had two. I was literally on college for. I had 4 online classes, so I literally ain't had no reason to go nowhere but in my room because I was on the computer all day.
Hmm.
So, and then when I did go and I finally got off the computer, I got the scripts at the end of the lunch. So,
And that's what I was about to say. Now it had a lot to do with your schedule because
mhm.
I will always schedule my classes so that way I can make a good time for lunch because I didn't like always getting in there with a rush. So that has a big thing to do with it. If you got there at the end, you didn't get a good variety.
Mm-mm.
Now, if you got there in the morning or right when it was being served, you would get a good variety. And I want to say maybe 2 semesters, I know we didn't never really have lunch together. But I know I will always get there early, and if not, I will hit that takeout line early.
I don't think I
So that
took
might be why
me.
we have a different experience on that too.
When we didn't eat together, I took my food to go. I ate my
Yeah.
food somewhere else. I don't know. I ain't sitting in the cab chair. Like, there's too many people for me. I'm sorry,
So
y'all.
what else did you like,
I don't
Chad?
like
Because
Lord's
the food didn't make it for your list. So what else did you like?
I mean, the food, no, because I was bamboozled because I thought we was gonna get that spread every day. But the food was fine. I
Fried
had
chicken
no
every
problem.
day. Who's gonna eat fried chicken every
Yeah,
day?
they had more than fried chicken. We had the whole pig with the apple in his mouth. Like, come on now.
But who doing that? That's for homecoming. We
Well,
get that for rodeo week and we get it for homecoming. We get fried chicken every week.
every Wednesday.
Okay, so you got it. This is what I'm
And
talking about.
and I
Don't
ate it.
be bashing my HBCU.
I'm not
Because
bashing
you didn't
Fayetteville
get to
State.
lunch on
I'm not
time.
good.
I got to lunch on time and I got the fresh
And I
food.
still got there on time. I was running.
You need to
Okay.
set your schedule up better next time.
Yeah,
Carter,
that's
tell your
okay.
mama to set your schedule up right so they can get the fresh food when they pulling the
And
foil off of it and all the smoke
well,
rises.
I'm sorry that all the education classes want to be an hour and a half long, and I'm in there asleep because they talk about that. Come
But yeah,
find out this stuff they teach you in class, y'all don't use as a teacher. Chad. Anyway, that's another story for another day.
I'm trying
But
to think what else was good about our experience.
homecoming, duh.
Oh yeah, homecoming,
Homecoming,
CIAA.
refund checks.
Yeah.
Refund
Refund checks is a scam. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for them refund checks. That's a scam. Now,
They was fun
that's
while
a
we had
legal
them.
scam.
You be in that line in the lily boy be hot.
That's a legal scam. We're gonna talk about that though. For real, that's a legal scam. Don't fall for that. That's another thing. Like I said, I wish they would talk to us about.
Mm-hmm.
They need to educate us on those student loans. If you're taking out student loans, you
Yes.
need to be educated on that. But I ain't gonna get on my soapbox because it's supposed to be something good. So positive things that I enjoyed from college was definitely homecoming. Homecoming is always a vibe. You see them old classmates, tell them old crushes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like work study too. The 1 year I had work study. Now I did enjoy that.
That's what I was about to say. I got my best real life experiences from work study. I had work study all 4 years.
I only had it 1 year. After that, I ain't having no
all 4 years your girls was working. So for me, when I major in psychology. I never majored in business or marketing. But when I think back, I've always had a passion for marketing. One, I took photography all the way up until my junior year of college. So I took it in high school, took advanced photography, and then I actually took it in college. That was something I was really interested in. I love the art of photography. And then when I thought about my internship, my work study, I was like, oh my God, I worked at the print shop for 3 years. So I was learning like how to do graphics, how to make notebooks, how to print things, how to bind things. So anything that was marketing related, literally I have hands-on experience doing it.
And I worked in the library. That's right.
And I loved it. Like I worked with a Black woman, Miss Wanda. She was the best. And I cannot remember the man's name I worked with, but they didn't play with me, child. I had to be there on time. I had to do my job. I wasn't just sitting around playing around. But honestly, I learned a lot of skills that are still valuable to me to this day. Like I know how to look at banners. I know like different photo sizes. A lot of stuff that I would have known had I not worked in that capacity. And during that time, they didn't have student workers. So I was actually one of their first student workers at the print shop.
History.
And so now it is huge. Like now they do so much stuff at the print shop. I'm just like amazed at the growth from when I was working there and they was in like this little small building. So now they're in like this huge area. And so, I mean, it's just astronomical how they changed. And then I went over into archives in the actual library. So I did library as well, but I was up on the top floor doing archives, and I learned a lot about our school's
Now I
history.
did like that when I used to come up there to visit you when I was
Yeah.
doing time for work.
And I
And I
can't
did like
remember my advisor's name in that job either, but I loved her
that.
too. She was so
Oh yeah,
knowledgeable.
she was great.
Another Black woman, she was just excellent. And like I said, all the experience I've had that have really been enjoyable have been just like little people along the way. But she was excellent. Like I just enjoyed working with her. She was so knowledgeable about like just the library system. To me, it can seem kind of flat. But when I was in there with them, like they were just so invested and interested in what they did and talking about the history of our institute, like it just made it exciting to be working with people that were so invested and were so educated in what Fayetteville State stood for. So I love that about it.
I like the way they used to decorate up there for homecoming, and a lot of people didn't know they were up there. So we would go up there and we would read the things. And even when I worked in the curriculum lab. So if it would say if you're an education major, on the third floor of the library was the curriculum lab. It was one big room, and if you had projects, you could check out books, you can laminate, you could use the copier, and it was very quiet. We had computers in there, you could do your work, and it was specifically for education majors, and that's what my work study was. And a lot of people before I started working there didn't know that exists, so I guess I helped bridge that gap of informing people like, hey, if the computers are full downstairs and you're an education major, you can come upstairs and work in the lab, and we're open to 9 o'clock. I didn't work till 9 o'clock, but we were open to 9 o'clock.
I don't know why I didn't realize that was your job until you just now said it. I just thought you used to hang out up there all the time.
No, that was my work study job.
I guess I knew
with
that,
Miss
but I don't know
with
if
Miss
you
Butler and
did
Mr.
that.
Ron. That was my work study job.
I just knew you were always up there, like that was your hangout
I was
spot.
working.
But I mean, maybe that's just one of those things that was like in my short-term memory. But until you said it, I was just like, oh yeah, she was up there working.
That's how I got to see. So I really passed the praxis because one of the instructors was in there doing a praxis course, and she was giving them like the gems for passing the test. And that particular day, I was working at my desk and answering the phone, and I was listening to her. And that's how that's how I got as close as I did. I still ain't passed, but who's counting? Okay, who's
That's
counting?
your business. And then
it is. That's okay though, because 2022 I'm coming and I'm a pass, so
okay,
that's okay. By the summer I will be a licensed educator. I don't need a license, but according to North Carolina, I do because I know what I'm doing.
But anyway. I will say, like an HBCU experience to me is priceless. Yes. Like we can name all the pros, we can name all the cons, but overall, I will say the people that I've met, the connections that I did form, like I'm just thinking about them like they're priceless. I've lost some friends, I've gained some friends since then, but I don't ever feel like it was a waste.
No.
I think it was literally like the foundation for my education. And since then, it's motivated me to continue to go further. Like I said, there are things I wish I would have done differently. When I have children, these are things that I will encourage them to do. But by no means do I regret anything. Like I don't regret ever going to HBCU.
No.
I rep my tribe. I rep my set the hardest. Like I'm always going to push that I went to HBCU because I think it's just home. Like it feels like home.
Yeah. And I'm learning. Like I'm learning. So just very quickly, I will tell y'all that when I graduated, I am one of those people like when I'm done, I'm done. And Diva of Course has been like, well, why you don't want people to know? I'm like, it's just school. Not thinking like the whole HBCU and how we got to HBCU. In my mind, I'm just like, oh, it's just school. Like, it's nothing of it. But now the more and more like I see and I read and educate myself, and I've met just from various things that I've done last year, more fellow Broncos, and they're excited. And this past homecoming that we had, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I need to have more school pride. And so I have been having more school pride because you never would have caught me in anything Fayetteville State. Nobody would have known I went to Fayetteville State unless you read my transcript. Okay, I'm just being honest. Okay. But I have learned and I have grown with the help of Diva the Curse. And you know, and now I understand the importance of getting an HBCU education experience and just making those connections. So for me, mine was a little later. I told y'all I just be winging this thing. So my experience has come now with me being older and graduated for I don't even know, for 3 years. I think I've been graduated 4 years, but anywho, that's where mine has come from. Just being in that circle. I think now I have all of those things that I wanted, but it's with alumni chapters and fellow Broncos in passing and making those connections. So that is my experience with
I
that.
think for me, my push comes from seeing other HBCUs close. You know, Vanderbilt, they're not hurting for money. You know, Boston College, they're not hurting for money. But this is our legacy. This is our lineage. And if it's not around, what are we going to tell our kids? And we've seen what happened when people don't support the HBCUs. We see what happened when alumni don't give back. Like the schools close. Like they cannot sustain on government funding alone. And so for me, that's why it's instrumental in us speaking up and us making sure we're advocating and representing our schools so that people know that the quality of education is just as good from a non-HBCU. And I need for people to understand that, like, a lot of times they lump us, oh, you went to HBCU, so the quality of your education was not this, that, and the third. And it's a constant fight and a constant struggle for me to make sure that people recognize this degree is just as important, or, you know, it's not an
Yale or
it's not an equivalency type thing. This isn't a GED. Like, this is a legit degree from a prestigious institute
university.
Just as much. And so I think those are the things that I really want us to appreciate and understand. Is like, this is something to be proud of. We made it past this. Like, we are statistics. When we enter school, you have only about 50% of the people that were actually making it through graduation. And here it is. You have 2 African-American women that come from single family homes who beat the odds by actually graduating. That's something to be proud of.
Child free, by the way. Child free. Without getting pregnant in college or over the summer before college. So
it's like, you gotta toot your own horn, because society gonna slap us and hit us and kick us in the head enough. So it's like, when it comes to my HBCU, I'm repping my set, I'm claiming Fayetteville State. I want to do as much as I can to give back, to acknowledge, you know, the contribution and the successes I've had as a result of having that seed planted in me at Fayetteville State.
And
you know what I do with that
now.
It's up to me. Yeah, like, that's cool. Child, I'm jealous now. I don't even want to talk about
that. It
didn't
even look like that when we went. Oh my gosh, y'all ever get a chance, please go see Fayetteville State now. It's like a before and after. Oh my god.
I'm jealous. Oh yeah, because we went to homecoming. So yeah, like, I was lost. And I'm proud of you. Like I tell you, you know, everybody's experience is different. Me and my best friend are day and night. And I think that's what always keeps us balanced. It's like the areas where she's super excited, I'm usually like, so, and the areas where I'm super excited, she like, so. And what we do is, though, we don't try to change each other. Like, we either meet in the middle or we just agree, like, I don't care about that. And for her, it was just something she didn't care about. But what I wanted her to do is to show her son, like, this is something to be impressed by. This is something I want you to achieve, and it's attainable. It's something you can do. You know, and not only just him, but the kids that she's educating. Like, education is important, even though we're constantly in this back and forth struggle about, should I continue my education? Should I not continue my education? Like, education is important. It is. However you want to look at it. Now, what that path looks like for you might be different from what that path looks like from somebody else. But education is important nonetheless.
Very.
And so, like I said, I'm proud of you for, you know, finally owning your own thing and finding it in your own time. Because I think that's the important thing, is nobody can tell you what your HBCU experience is. Like, that's up to you to find that. You know, we had a friend whose mom would always tell her, like, I want you to have the college experience. I want you to have the college experience. And it's important for you to have that experience. So, you know, of course, some Broncos. The
CIAA champ. Mind you, we have not won a game since 65. So this is state history, baby. Like, we have not won a game. Shout out to those boys at state. Worked hard. Yes. Y'all, I'm clapping. Y'all can clap at home. But Fayetteville State is on the map. We finally won a game. We get so close. Finally won a game. Shout out to the boys. Shout out to the girls. And yeah,
Yep. So we just want to kind of jump on here. Look at them earrings. Ooh, she wearing all
y'all shop ear
fetish
fetish for y'all HBCU earrings, baby. Ear
Those
fetish.
are gorgeous.
Y'all see?
I ain't even wear mine,
mask,
y'all, because you can't see what I live long hair.
I got my mask to say alumni, but y'all weren't ready for it.
But yeah, we wrap our set. But this is just a little quick video about our HBCU experience. If you guys want to know more, if you
drop
guys
those questions, we answer.
Exactly. Leave us some questions. And again, we'll go more into detail because I do kind of want to make sure we talk a little bit more about like prep for college, things you can do, just because I feel like we learned a lot based on what we didn't do. But again, if y'all want to know more about college, if you kind of want to talk through grad school, getting Fifi to get herself on in, let me know. Oh yeah, share your news about your program that you completed.
Oh, I'm on my program. Oh, so I took a bit. Y'all, I told y'all I was in business classes a while back. So the other day, I got my certificate of completion. And March 24th, I will be graduating from Aspire Community Program. Excuse me, let me get that correct. They are on Instagram, ASPIRE Community Program and Business Programming. So yes, you get a chance to look them up.
Like I said, just because you decide you don't want a degree does not mean you cannot get certifications. You cannot go back and add other things to put in your toolbox. So hats off to you. I'm proud of you. And I just want everybody else to know how proud I am because you are a full-time mother. You work full-time and you wear multiple other hats. She's an active parent. And so for you to be able to accomplish this goal, I'm sure there are other people looking at you like, if she can do it, baby, I can do it too.
I'm still inspired by other people that I see. I'm like, how y'all going to school? And but I got to start one step at a time, okay? PTA, karate. But I'm stressed out. But look, it worked. It worked. When you got a good partner.
You got it done. You got it done. That's all that matters. All right, y'all. So we're going to head off of here, but be sure to subscribe, follow, and share.
Like,
okay,
follow.
If y'all want to see something good, let me know, and we'll be sure to hit you up. Don't forget to follow Fethegem. Oh, it's this way. Fethegem.
Diva Curve.
And Diva Curve. So,
and as they said when we were in school, I love my HBCU.
Ciao, bye. Just bye.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Be crazy.
Funhouse active, king of the palace, rubber like Malcolm.